My 10-year-old son asked if getting 100% was failing, so I came home early and found his tutor Trevor sitting in my recliner drinking from my mug while my wife served him coffee, and they discussed their plan to divorce me and convert my house into Trevor's academy after making my son write "I'm stupid" 20 times for getting a 95%. The day my 10-year-old son asked if getting 100 was failing is burned into my memory. I knew his school offered extra credit questions that could bump you over 100%, but he was genuinely scared I'd be angry. It threw me off, but hey, kids stress about grades, right? Then he started doing homework until midnight, every night. My wife just laughed it off. He's finally caring about school, she said. But then I noticed other things. He'd erase entire pages if his handwriting wasn't perfect. Started chewing his fingernails until there was nothing left to bite. Stopped playing basketball after school. He never rejected a game of ball, but when I asked, he said he didn't have time for dumb games anymore. I tried to believe my wife was right, but one evening, I caught him crying over a math worksheet, whispering, "Stupid, stupid, stupid," and I couldn't help but think this wasn't just about grades. It got worse when the next morning, he threw up before school, all because he had a spelling test. When I told my wife I was worried about our son, she just brushed it off, but I couldn't do the same. Kids don't just develop test anxiety this severe overnight without reason. So I started coming home early from work without telling anyone. Tuesday, I saw a Prius in our driveway. Wednesday, I heard my son saying, I'm sorry," over and over. Thursday, I watched through the kitchen window. That's when I saw him, Trevor, the tutor from my wife's mommy Facebook group. Everyone swore by him. I watched as my son showed him a test with a score of 95%. Trevor shook his head, pointed at each missed question, then made my son write out what he did wrong 20 times each. Kept saying things like, "Is this the best you can do? Really?" My wife sat there nodding like this was completely normal. Even added, "Trevor is right. You knew this material." The next day, I pretended to leave for work but circled back. I crept up to the living room window. Trevor was sitting in my chair, my father's old recliner, with his feet up on my ottoman. My wife brought him coffee in my favorite mug. "Once we get him into the gifted program, we can start phase 2, Trevor said, putting his hand on her thigh. "What about his father?" my wife asked. "He thinks I'm pushing too hard. By the time the divorce goes through, the boy will already see me as his real father figure, the one who actually cares about his success. Kids gravitate towards strength, not weakness." He sipped from my mug. "Besides, this house will be perfect for my home academy. We'll convert his man cave into a study center." I wanted to burst in right then and there, but I needed more evidence. I started recording everything on my phone from outside. That evening, I found my son recopying his entire essay because he'd crossed out one word. When I said it looked fine, he panicked. "Trevor says messy work shows a messy mind. He'll make me do extra problems." That's when it hit me. I asked him gently, "What happens when you get things wrong with Trevor?" His face went pale. He doesn't yell, he just looks disappointed. Says things like, "I guess not everyone can be exceptional." Makes me explain why I'm too stupid to get it right. Says maybe I'm just not gifted program material. Maybe I'm just average. My blood ran cold. This man had been emotionally manipulating my child while I worked 60-hour weeks to support our family, and my wife just let him. "What else does Trevor say?" I asked. "He says A's are for failures. He says if I don't want to end up homeless, then I'd get at least 105% every time. He told Mom if I don't get into this boarding school, I'll probably end up," he paused, "like you. But I think you're awesome, Daddy." I was seeing red, but I kept my voice calm. "Son, C's get degrees. B's are great. Hell, A's with a nervous breakdown aren't worth it." He started crying harder. "But Trevor says that's loser talk, and Mommy also thinks you're a loser." I stormed downstairs and confronted my wife.